I used to be a pick-me girl, the girl who laughed at jokes that weren't funny, the girl who pretended to like sports she hated, the girl who said, "I'm not like other girls," like it was a trophy, the girl who made herself small so he'd have room, the girl who answered texts at 3 a.m. because availability was my love language, the girl who competed with women I never met for men who never chose me. And the darkest part? I thought I was winning. I thought the girl who sacrificed the most got the prize. I thought the girl who needed the least got the most. I thought the girl who never complained, never demanded, never set boundaries. She was the one he'd finally see. He never saw me. He saw a mirror that agreed with everything, a pillow that absorbed everything, a shadow that followed everything. And when he left, which he always did, I told myself he wasn't ready. He was scared. He had issues. I never told myself the truth, that I wasn't a girlfriend. I was a strategy. That I wasn't loved. I was convenient. And convenience gets replaced. Today, I'm telling you what I learned from the inside, the dark truth about modern dating from a woman who performed her way through it and woke up empty. This will not be pretty, but it will be real. If you're ready to hear what a pick-me girl actually thinks, hit subscribe and turn on the bell. Next week, I'm breaking down the exact moment a man turns a woman into a pick-me without either of them knowing. You don't want to miss it. Pick-me is not confidence. It's fear wearing makeup. Every pick-me girl is terrified. Terrified of being alone. Terrified of being too much. Terrified of having needs. Terrified of being the reason he leaves. So she performs fearlessness. She performs chill. She performs the cool girl who doesn't care where he goes, who he texts, what he does. I'm not jealous. You can have female friends. I don't need labels. We don't have to define this. All of it is fear. All of it is negotiation. All of it is a girl trying to prove she's worth keeping by proving she costs nothing. And men fall for it. Because it feels like freedom. It feels like no pressure. It feels like the easiest relationship ever. But easy is not compelling. Easy is not valuable. Easy is not memorable. The girl who costs nothing is the girl who gets nothing. No commitment, no effort, no investment. Because why would he invest in something that's already free? Why would he choose something that's already his? Why would he fight for something that never fights back? Pick-me girls think they're being easy to love. They're being easy to leave. They're being easy to replace. They're being easy to forget. And the men who stay, the men who take the free sample and never buy, they're not the prize. They're the proof that the strategy failed. Pick me. Girls create the men they complain about. This is the part that broke me. I spent years complaining that men don't commit, that men don't appreciate, that men don't see me. And I never realized I was training them not to. When you answer at 3 a.m., you teach him that time doesn't matter. When you pretend you don't care where he is, you teach him that your care doesn't matter. When you say I'm fine when you're not, you teach him that your truth doesn't matter. When you compete with other women instead of requiring his loyalty, you teach him that loyalty doesn't matter. When you make yourself available without requiring his presence, you teach him that presence doesn't matter. You are not the victim of a man who won't commit. You are the architect of a man who never had to. You built the blueprint. You set the terms. You accepted the minimum. And then you blamed him for meeting it. Pick-me girls don't get hurt by bad men. They get hurt by the men they allowed to be bad. The men they never challenged. The men they never required. The men they never made earn their place, because requiring feels like risk. Requiring feels like he might leave. Requiring feels like being alone. And being alone is the pick-me girl's greatest fear. So she chooses the guarantee of his presence over the possibility of his investment. And she calls it love. It's not love, it's fear. And fear creates the exact thing it was trying to prevent. Pick me. Girls hate other women because they hate themselves. The "I'm not like other girls" line is not confidence. It's self-hatred projected outward. It's a girl who believes that femininity is weakness, that having needs is desperate, that wanting commitment is clingy, that having standards is difficult. So she distances herself from other women. She judges them. She competes with them. She performs a version of herself that is one of the guys. That is chill. That is low maintenance. And in doing so, she loses the very thing that makes her powerful: her softness, her intuition, her ability to feel deeply, her willingness to require, her capacity to demand. All of it gets buried under the performance of being the cool girl, the girl who doesn't cry, the girl who doesn't care, the girl who doesn't need. And she watches other women who do need, who do care, who do cry, and she hates them because they remind her of what she buried, because they have what she sacrificed, because they are being women while she is being a performance. And the men she wants, they don't want the performance. They want the woman. They want the depth. They want the feeling. They want the real. And the pick-me girl is so busy being unlike other women that she forgets to be herself. She forgets that the thing that makes her valuable is not her chill, it's her heart. It's her capacity to feel. It's her willingness to be seen. And she threw all of it away for a man who never asked her to. She threw it away for a fantasy of what men want. And the fantasy was wrong. The fantasy was built by other pick-me girls. And the cycle continues. Generation after generation of women performing fearlessness while dying inside. Generation after generation of men learning that women don't require anything. And both sides waking up empty, wondering what went wrong. Let me ask you something that will hurt. Are you chill because you're actually chill, or because you're terrified of being left? Drop the word fear in the comments if you're starting to see it. I want to know how many of us have been performing. Pick-me girls don't get chosen, they get settled for. This is the final truth, the one that took me years to accept. The pick-me girl is never the first choice. She's the convenient choice. She's the choice that requires no effort. She's the choice that comes with no pressure. She's the choice that he makes when he's tired of looking, when he's bored, when he's lonely, when he needs someone to fill the space until something better comes along. And she knows it. She feels it. She senses it in the way he texts, in the way he plans, in the way he looks at her. But she ignores it, because acknowledging it means acknowledging that the strategy failed, that the performance didn't work, that all her sacrifice was for nothing, that she made herself small for a man who never asked her to. And that realization is more painful than the settling. So she stays. She performs harder. She becomes more chill, more available, more understanding, more everything he never asked for. And he stays too. Because why wouldn't he? It's free. It's easy. It's comfortable. But he doesn't love her. He tolerates her. He uses her. He settles for her. And one day, something real comes along. Something that requires him. Something that challenges him. Something that makes him feel. And he leaves. Not because he's bad, because she's not real. She's a convenience. And convenience gets replaced. Real gets fought for. Real gets chosen. Real gets kept. And the pick-me girl, the girl who spent her whole life trying to be chosen, never learned that being chosen requires being real, requires being seen, requires having the courage to be too much, to be difficult, to have needs, to require effort, requires being the thing she was most afraid of being, herself. So what do you do with this? You stop performing. You stop competing with other women. You stop saying, I'm not like other girls. You stop making yourself small. You stop answering at 3 a.m. You stop pretending you don't care. You stop saying you're fine when you're not. You start requiring. You start having standards. You start setting boundaries. You start being the thing you were afraid of being. A woman with needs, a woman with feelings, a woman with edges, a woman who requires effort, a woman who is not free, a woman who is worth fighting for. Because the girl who costs nothing is the girl who gets nothing. And the woman who requires everything is the woman who gets everything. Not because she's difficult, because she's real. Because she's valuable, because she's worth it. And the men who are worth keeping, they don't want the pick-me girl. They want the woman who knows her worth. They want the woman who doesn't perform. They want the woman who is too much for the wrong man and exactly enough for the right one. They want you, the real you. Not the performance, not the strategy, not the fear, you. And if you can't give them you, you'll spend your life giving them everything else and wondering why it's never enough. If this broke you the right way, hit that like button so more women who need this can find it. Subscribe and turn on the bell if you want to keep getting the truth that most people are too scared to say. Drop a comment below with the word real if you're done performing. And if you know a girl who is exhausting herself being chill and getting left behind, send this to her. She deserves to know that pick me is not the prize. Being chosen is. And being chosen requires being real. Until next time, stop performing. Start being. This is Mind of Connection. I'll see you soon.